This is gonna come as a shock to my regular viewers, but I've made a mess, and I'm gonna use this monster of a machine to clean it up easier than I could with a smaller machine. So the back corner of my property I hardly ever show in videos. I want it to be a hayfield, but when I bought the property, what we had was large spread out trees with massive brush piles in between them. And when we first moved here, I cleaned up a lot of those brush piles and I cut down a few trees, but I didn't realize it. They have not been cutting that. They cut it the first year, but they didn't cut it last year. And that's because I left some treetops down that would have torn up a mower. So now we've got hay this tall, and I can see that there's treetops mixed in it. Now, if all I had was a tractor, I would not risk tearing up my mower going through that. But this skid steer brush cutter will turn into a wood chipper if you run into anything. So rather than try to pick out all the little pieces and walk back and forth and try to get everything out of there, we're gonna do our mowing with this monster of a cutter right here. It'll be slower, but it's not gonna tear anything up. So let's head down there and get it cleaned up and see what kind of mess we have before we can make hay down there. I'm guessing it's been 1.5 years since I mowed this down here. You can actually see some little trees coming up right here. But those branches, if you can see branches sticking up down there, that's the top of a tree that I didn't finish cleaning up. So I'm gonna mow some of the grass first, then we'll get moved down there and I'll see if I can get some close-up of when I go through that rough area. Well, I'm using this skid steer brush cutter because I thought I might run into something that I forgot was down here. And I did right away with this big pile of dirt that I don't ever remember being there. So I mowed it down a little bit. It's really the only surprise I found. But I do remember now that I've done a lot more projects down here, from sawmilling to brush cutting to tree felling and trimming the fence row with the high reach tree shear. This is also where I salted the stump, which didn't really work. But at this point, this part of the property is almost ready for me to cut hay on this spring. So I've brought you guys down here for more videos than I remembered. The first big tree I ever cut down was right there. And my first time I ever ran a sawmill in person was set up right here on that long trailer with the log arch built onto the trailer. And then I brought that mini tree shear, what's it called? Precision Manufacturing high reach tree shear down here, and trimmed all of this fence line with it. So that's where I did that. we're getting close. We've got a big stump down here. We've got a couple smaller trees that I'm gonna take down tomorrow right over here. So might be working down here the rest of the week. But I made a few squares around the outside. Now I'm gonna start going back and forth and work my way into this tree. Somebody probably remembers the video where I made this mess, but my memory was that I'd cleaned up everything down here. There's a whole tree right here. I have no idea what I was doing. It's not the same tree either. This is multiple trees. One that's burned and got pushed down. It had to have been brought down here because that tree didn't even come from here. I got no idea. I've got short-term memory loss, and who knows what I did. But I'm gonna finish cleaning up some of this mess. This right here is for all the ninnies who get in a wind or get their knickers bound up because I cut down a tree and turned it into boards. Somebody cut this tree down, or it fell down, or whatever the heck happened to it, but it's solid in the center. But they pushed it into a pile and let it sit here and rot. And it's wasted. It's nothing. Could have been something. This could have been a kitchen table. It could have been anything, but now it's nothing. And it's probably so far gone that I can't make something out of it. So if you're taking a tree down, take it down and turn it into something. Make it firewood. Heat someone's home with it. Don't shove it into a pile. That's my... And so here's the thing. I do not care what you do. If you want to cut down 100 trees and shove them into a pile, do whatever you want. If you want to complain about me cutting down a tree, just know that I'm using it. That's all I got to say. So now we've got some trees to take down. I've got some options here. I've got this tree right here. I want this one down. And I want this one down. I've got a stump grinder. I've got a backhoe. I've got a skid steer. I've got a chainsaw. There's a lot of ways to take those trees down. I could cut them down real easy, grind them off. But then that's below the grade and it's going to rot and make a hole. Could take the whole thing, take the stump with it, never have to worry about hitting it when I'm doing something out here. But that's tomorrow. For right now, it's progress. It's a beautiful day. Still in February and it's absolutely perfect out here. I appreciate you taking time to watch the video. I'll put links on the screen to a couple more of our videos and I'll see you next time.